was a problem. I guess we're over with our intro music early. Hello, Tank. Well, okay, I'm Dan Lutz, and I'm here with Stefan Rowe, also known as Tank, and we're here on the front lines with WWG1 WGA.love. We're on the front lines. Yeah, on the front lines against the deep state cabal, Lumadonkeys, and all those that want to enslave all of humanity as their personal batteries.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah, sorry, I was moving some screens around, and I actually closed down the music early, so I guess that's okay. So what's going on, Tank? We did two days of Q&A. That was fun.
Yeah, thank you for working with us on that, and thank you for helping answer some of those questions too. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I think everybody knows that we're at a point where transition is imminent. Changing things over is imminent, and I think people have lots of questions, and it seems like more and more people are waking up every day, and because they're waking up, everyone's realizing, like, wait, so this is real. This can happen. This can change. And after really getting a better understanding of how Kim's set the system up right now, she made it so they can't see what the other ones are doing, right? So nobody can see what one is doing. Like, so the Pentagon transfers money, they don't know anymore, right? So they can't scoop in and say, give us that money, or whatever they did before. They can't siphon it off. If the agencies move money, they can't. But what does happen is when you bring new money into the system, any new dollar that comes into the system, alarms go off, right? So new money is in the system. As when you transfer money from one place to another, it doesn't matter that much because that money's already in the system. But as soon as new money comes into the system, an alert goes off. So what they've been able to do is stop that money. If you transfer it into, say, Wells Fargo, even when it gets cleared, and then alarms go off, and then they say, don't let it go, don't let it hit the account, right? So they were still able to do that. So we're working on some other ways that are already, in the works to bring the money in, because once it's in the system, they can no longer track what's happening. So that's or they can't track that it's from camera, that it's new money, because it's already in the system. So that's where we're at with that. I don't know if that makes perfect sense, but
yeah, no, I got it. Yeah, that makes sense. So basically, there's anonymous entities that are getting the funds into their accounts. They don't know where it's at, so they can't take it.
Right, and then when money is moving through the system, you no longer know what money is Kim's money because it's already in the system.
Right.
And that's been the big problem, is because they don't want. I mean, they'll do anything to stop people from getting money, right? Anything to stop people from. They'll do anything from stopping, regular projects from getting funded. They'll do anything to stop it. So that's kind of where we're at, and I would say that's great news. That's the final piece. So I'm hoping that banks and various people alike are coming to their senses and realizing, like, wait, they have us absolutely beat. Like, she has locked them down, and hopefully everybody comes on board. I still, for the life of me, I don't understand why the Pentagon doesn't just go in, with
because
heavily armed.
Yeah, because of it being terrorism, right? So they'd have the justification because it's basically financial terrorism.
Yes, I mean, everyone who has taken an oath of office has sworn to protect the Constitution against enemies both foreign and domestic. So every single person right now should really be asking themselves what that means to them, because It doesn't matter if you're for vaccines or against vaccines. It does not matter. The question is, do you want the choice to continue to have your religion, or your right to not participate in any religion, or your view of God, or do you want free thought? Because you got to think the First Amendment is really addressing not only religion, but it's addressing our ability, our right, and just as humans, to think freely in whatever way we think is right.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want that freedom? Because that's what's under attack, right? That's what's under attack with the vaccines right now in New York and in California. I mean, this is a very, in addition to it's poison, right? But let's say it wasn't poison. Let's say it did something that was great, like vaccines made everybody's eyes, like a pretty shade of blue, right? Everybody got pretty eyes that were blue. Do you want the right to keep your eyes if they're green or if they're brown? Do you want that right? I mean, of course you do, right? You want the right to be who you already are, right? Or you want the right to choose. Maybe you do want blue eyes, but you should have the right to choose, right? And it's amazing to me how the same group who made, pro-choice their movement are now so willing to give up their choices.
Right.
So.
Well, we know that it wasn't about choice.
Right. It was never about choice. It was about control, and they're, the one thing, there's a couple things the cabal does very well, right? They're really good actors, right? The cabal meetings, I feel like a majority of their life is spent learning how to act like something they're not, right? So they're actors. They sit around, and Nancy Pelosi's like, they have Nancy Pelosi in acting class before she becomes, the Speaker of the House. Okay, Nancy, this time I want you to be the angry Speaker of the House, standing up to the people and sing. Right? And she goes. I mean, it's like that.
Well, just like Rudy Giuliani is saying about Comey, and he says, that Comey, he just learned how to project a few emotions, and he just keeps repeating the same things over, even though they don't fit, the scenario, but it's all he knows, right?
Right.
It's kind of interesting. He paints it that way. It's almost like there are no real emotions there. It's all just like without emotions, like without care, without true empathy for others. So.
I mean, they've beaten the humanity out of people when they were babies. They've trained them in MK Ultra programs and Monarch programs, and the Genesis program, all these different mind control programs designed to fracture the human mind. But you're not really human if you can't connect your logic to your emotions. These things are not separate, right?
Yeah.
And those naturally affect your actions.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I'm listening to these programs about the Anunnaki, right, and the ancient Egyptians, and about this, the Enki and Lil, Marduk, and just trying to place, you just hear their lives and what were they doing, what story was put down in the Emerald Tablets, and what is what they're doing, and they have all these emotions, right? They have all these things, but it's so if they have them, why do they want to stamp them out in the created beings, right? The genetically altered beings that they have there. Why would they want to get rid of those emotions? And it's only their system of control, right? And so the people that are in this position, bloodline regardless of what they're doing, they're trained in these ancient rituals because the rituals bring them power. But what's really bringing them the power? Is it really because they do the rituals, or is it because the system was set up to say if you do rituals you'll get the power? And then if you remove the emotions, or you remove the love and the caring for others, you'll get the power. And they just set up the system to be that way, you know. And so, you know, uh, again, they're just the slave masters, but they've been trained to act like robots, right?
Yep.
And they're
That's
just,
exactly right.
here's the program, you guys execute it, you know, and oh, forget about those pesky emotions that get in the way of you doing your job.
Well, and you got to think that they've been trained to trust the plan, right? So this is why I take such, you know. No, I'm serious.
I get
Look,
it.
I'm not doing this to pick a fight or even make light of it. I'm telling you, this is what they've been trained to do. Just like the military, follow orders, trust the plan, right? So this is the same thing, right? So anytime I hear that, that's why I'm so allergic to that language.
Yeah, I hear you.
Trust the plan, enjoy the show, right? No, like because what they'll do is no matter what's happening, they'll keep just stayed focused on this is the role I'm playing. I'm innocent. I'm innocent. I'm innocent. You know, knowing they're not, right?
Mhm.
They'll go out and do something horrible, not even think twice about it.
Right.
Turn right back around and say, I would never do that.
Right.
And it doesn't even faze them,
Right.
right? It's just a natural. They don't think about the lives they hurt, the people they damage. There is no consideration. Now, in my opinion, you know, I've been, you know, it's funny. I guess I think Thomas was talking about this with Randy Muggins. How Randy Muggins has been getting hit up by different MK Ultra, you know, trained groups from the Monarch programs, right? Now, so have I. But I didn't, you know. We interviewed this woman, Lolly, and I outed her, you know, and then she never spoke to us again. But I basically said, look, so basically, according to your programming, you could get very close to me, they could trigger you, and then give you instructions to kill me. You could kill me, disappear, and no one would be the wiser. Not even you. You wouldn't even know, right? And that to me is a very dangerous scenario, right? That exists. Because there's no way to deprogram them. Because part of their program is a trigger. And part of the trigger is if they feel like their life is being threatened. So and they all know that. They all know if my life is being threatened, they know it's a trigger, right? And they'll go into kill mode. So if you try to deprogram them, the trigger's there too. And that trigger makes them feel like their life is being threatened, even though you're trying to help them. And that can also send them into kill mode.
Right.
So, and I was talking to this Valerie Jurgensen about some of the activities that took place with these kids down in Haiti, right? And this scumbag guy down there he's a programmer, right? He's obviously a programmer. And so what he'll do is he would constantly be reintroducing trauma in a way where you feel like he's getting close to you, he's warming up, you can trust him, right? And then he does something awful to them, right? So what you learn into that is you cannot trust anyone, and that if someone's being kind to you, if someone's trying to help you, that it creates a trigger that you respond to, right?
Right.
So I just keep thinking about this. I'm like, wow, like, you know, how do you, if that's out there, there's no way to manage that. There's no way to manage that, and you can't be overly kind to it because it's a trigger, right? So I mean, that's something that it's kind of a, you know, it's kind of a push in my opinion. I don't see how you continue with those groups because the Monarch program, right? Now I just recently spoke to a woman who was raised in this, but she was never part of the programming, right? Because she was supposed to be a higher up, but she was exposed to all the things they did to other kids and other people, right?
Right.
And you know, she was explaining to me. She said, "There's two kinds of kids, right? Are getting abused. You have kids that are expendable. Those are our kids. Our kids are expendable. Those are kids you give vaccines to, while the Gates kids don't get vaccines. While the governor of California."
Uh-oh. Dang. Dang. Well, good time to be blocked, right? Gates' kids don't get vaccine, and the governor of California's kids don't get vaccines. Why not? Is that hello? Are you back?
Yeah, you have our kids that are expendable, right? Then you have the monarch kids, right? That are part of the hierarchy program. And as part of the hierarchy program, they're still abused and put through horrible manipulation and mind control to do what they're told, because they're preserved, but they were still raised in what all of these families don't realize, that the horrible practices they put their kids through, it's not because there's a hierarchy, it's because they were just slaves too.
Right.
That's the reality.
Right. So you were saying that Gates' kids are not vaccinated, and also the governor of California. Is that what you were saying?
Yep, not vaccinated. Not the Gates. The Gates kids are not. Neither are the governor of California. Hey Dan, I gotta sing happy birthday, so please talk for a little bit. Be right back.
Sure. Happy birthday. Oh no, that's not the right. So, well, that's a telltale sign, right, that they're not vaccinating their kids. So, is it a good thing? No. So, well, at least we're making a stand and trying to push back against it now. And I wish that there was an easy way to do it, but we have to really stand up and do something. We have to get up and get out of our homes and walk down the street and tell people about this. Literally, just face to face, saying, "Listen, the governor's kids of these two states and Bill Gates, they don't have their kids vaccinated. Why? There's Bill Gates saying that we're using vaccination to basically sterilize the populations of the planet. So what is there to guess about, right? Just because they make it a law that you're going to just comply with it, that's wrong. It's against your constitutional rights. It's against human rights about the ability for us to live as and procreate and have families. The overpopulation thing is nonsense. It's just that there's too many of us for them to control. They're a small group. Herd gets too big, call the herd. So this is all that they're doing. They're just reducing the numbers so that they can control more about the way they make it easier for them to control. They don't want to share power. They're against sharing and caring. So if there was 100 billion people, how would they be able to control them? Could the planet support 100 billion people? Certainly. Certainly we could. Vast areas there's nobody, and we can go up, we can go down, and we can go to the other planets. There's no problem with overpopulation. The problem is the people that are saying that there's overpopulation. They're trying to control us in a way that is only for their own benefit. Nose is getting itchy. Well, there seems to be kind of a lot of things going on in the world. That we know that there's some things changing, but I'm happy with where Trump's going. Looks like McCabe is going to get put on trial. It looks like General Flynn is going to be freed, and the information brought about is going to then, secure all of them. So this is building up, and when these things start rolling, when the wheels of justice are obvious to everyone that they're turning, I think that's when we see that we can stop the vaccinations. We can stop these things that are out there to harm us, because people will then, say, hey, something's been wrong. And now I can see it. I'm awake. Hashtag I'm awake. That's what we really need to focus on. We need to do these things to make things more adaptable for us to change the world for abundance. Be able to create a system, that we're all looked at as to benefit. There should be no poverty on the planet. I mean, it's ridiculous that we can't feed everybody. We have plenty of ability to feed everybody. But why is it not being done? To think that all this money to feed Africa, for example, but they're still starving. They have no money. I mean, all these countries around the world are living on dollars per day for each individual. That's ridiculous. The system is wrong. It's meant to control people, to keep people down. We need to lift people up. We need a system that's going to free people, allow people to prosper, allow people to take their actions and do something, or decide not to. The people that want to live on the beach and just go surfing all day, fine. The people that want to contribute, people that are surfing are contributing. You ever like to watch surfers? I used to watch surfers. So I said, that's cool. It's an inspiration to go do surfing. So, yeah, the way we look at things, about value, is very distorted. So we need to focus on those things about what we are doing as living beings, what we contribute, in ways that the current system doesn't value. Because our current system only values the negative things that end up pushing more money up to the top, pushing control up to the top. So we've advanced so much in technology, but socially and politically, it's archaic. We need to do something completely different. I'm anxious to get to Fiji. see how we unfold, an abundance-based economy. Right? What does that look like? How do we make people, in a position of abundance because of the things that they're doing on a day-to-day basis, that they can not just survive but thrive. I like those videos that were called Thrive. That was an excellent series. So again, torsion energy field of the planet, right? How do we restore that, to optimum? Is that the reason why things grew bigger before? Is because the field was established to do so? I mean, was the current system set up to keep us down? Also meant in the size of foods. Obviously, I'm amazed at bananas. So showing Tank earlier, there's a type of banana that we have here in the Philippines that is it's meant to be cooked. It's not a plantain, but it's like that. But they're just boiled and they're very, very tasty. But but as a plant itself, you can tell it's as though it's like a big version of a certain grain plant or something. It just it's oversized. If it was much smaller and and you harvest it, but in your hand, it'd be little tiny like grains instead of these bananas. But it's oversized. I see Jeff has joined us. Jeff, did you want to join in and ask anything? Tank is kind of taking a break at this time. Maybe it just came in to listen. Oh, they got
No, I'm here. Sorry.
Oh, hey.
No, I talking about Tui.
No, I was talking about. Well, I talked a little bit about Fiji, but and I said Jeff had just jumped on the line on Jeff's iPhone, but there's no microphone or anything, so I think he's just listening.
So, what do you think about last night with the Q&A? The porn star there who wanted to show off his package.
I'm glad that we didn't get any of that out on YouTube.
Live.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we would have been banned from YouTube for good. It's a class act right there. Class act out there listening and Now, you want to talk about how desperate the cabal is? Like they're sitting around going, I don't know how to disrupt this message. Put your pants down quick. Like, what was the thought process? Yeah. I'm just gonna flash my junk. It's so funny.
Well, I'm glad that I was saved from that torture.
Yeah, me too. Me too. That would have not enhanced our message by any means.
Right. We also have Andrew Collins has jumped on the line also.
Could I not? Nah, dude, what's up, man?
What's up? I love you guys and everybody in the chat as well.
What's going on, man? What are you up to?
Not a whole lot. How are you doing, Dan?
I'm doing good, but that was Tank asking. But
I know. I was asking both of you at the same time.
Okay. Just certain, we're just getting the dynamic down here. Well, thanks for joining in. Yeah. So, that Q&A yesterday and the last 2 days was pretty cool. And regardless of the, strange interruptions, it's good to talk with everybody, right? It's
I'm actually grateful for Robert's input as an artist yesterday. That was like super inspiring. I've been on the fence about whether or not I should take that seriously, and thanks to Robert, man. It's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. Good people. Yeah. Hey, Andrew, man, could you, by chance, give me a breakdown? I know you were on Thomas's call last night, right? Could you tell me kind of what the break down the different letters that Kim was talking about addressing animal rights? And I know Kim had to clear some things up with the brother and stuff.
What it sounded like is, again, more outing of Anna and a few others just flapping their gums, being haters. Since I'm kind of new, I'm still learning how the lingo of all of it works. So I'm one of the newer members. I just have a brain for kind of picking up this kind of information and running with it.
Yeah.
So I'm still learning what the lingo is, but what it sounds like, Thomas, because I re-listened to it this morning, it sounds like he was basically reading these letters and giving, again, thorough examples of how they're just putting their foot in their mouth.
Yeah.
Give me a second, gentlemen. I'm going to mute myself. I got to put my phone on the charger.
Sure.
Well, anyway. Yeah. There's a whole new rash of people on the attack now. Thomas did give out some good advice, I thought, last night. The piece I caught was he was talking about just to be on guard spiritually, right? Now, you got to think, the cabal, the Harvest Moon is like, this is like when they launch their stuff every year, right? But usually it comes later in the month.
Oh.
So, today, in my opinion, is a great opportunity to kind of flip the script, right? Because personally, my personal attachment to it is, my sons they turned 13 today, on Friday the 13th. And it's a full harvest moon, right? This big, massive harvest moon. And a lot of really strong, it's a Leo moon, right? I don't know, it's Pisces moon for Leo, I don't know, something like that, I'm never sure exactly what those things mean, but a lot, but there's an obvious, very clear amount of energy in the air tonight. And,
that's why your kids are wound up right now.
Oh yeah, I fully expect several of them to turn into vampires or werewolves at any minute. They're sorry about that. We're having a sleepover for my son's birthday party for the people who don't know, and my son, my twins, and they're in the local town. It's all this big deal about about this biker gang, but it's a bicycler gang, they say, right? And they're trying to make this story up about all the damage they're doing. It's like, and so I told Leia what to do to out this woman who was complaining so much, and we outed her as a troll. She wasn't even real. She wasn't a mother or anything. She snuck out of the Oceanside Mom's page. And it was nothing, it's just a bunch of kids being kids, but they want our kids to stay inside on, on their electronic devices so they can control what they think, what they say, right. Make them behave, make it seem like there's a big, they reported these kids, these 8th graders to the cops for riding their bikes.
No, I
I'm
remember.
like, are you kidding?
I remember, when I was a kid, we had our bicycles and we'd all go off riding together, and we'd have games that we'd play based on bicycles, and all sorts of things we'd make up. It's a lot of imagination that goes on there. So, do you get a little rambunctious? Sure. There's not really a big problem with that. It's just to be expected.
It's being, when I was 13, I had a birthday party, and we had the world's biggest water balloon fight, I thought, when I was a kid. We had like 70 kids, right? Because there was like 40 kids in my house that were like from school, and then there was all the neighborhood kids, and we had a massive water balloon war. And we took it really seriously.
Oh, yeah.
we were wading through the creek, right? We had like plans of attacks. We were going through tunnels that went underneath the road and stuff. I mean, we were so serious, and it was the most fun when I was a kid, most fun party I was ever at in my life. I can't even imagine trying to do that here. In this little town where there's absolutely no crime. But you'll notice there's a lot less sirens, right? Because I kept outing the cops for like running sirens by me.
Right.
And I followed them a couple times, and they went nowhere. Right?
Right.
They would just zip by me, and I followed them. And they went nowhere. They went nowhere. They get to the end of the road, turn the siren off, come back. I'm like, you punks! I know exactly what you're doing, right? So they stopped doing that. But they actually even moved, and I outed them for always having a police car across the street from my house at all times. They would, so much so that I would walk out of my house, and when they would see me walking in the house, if there wasn't a car there, as soon as I left, they'd come screaming down and stop next to me, and then it would look at me and then try to look away, like, "Oh no, we're not watching you." I'm like, yes, you are. Yes, you are.
So it's a what is their reasoning, right? That you need to be watched.
Well, I'm sure that these are essentially forces that are still under some kind of control from the Rothschilds, right? A lot of the police are owned by the United Nations, right? And the fact that I know that, I would imagine that probably makes me a danger to them on some level, right? And that I'm public about it. Or not even a danger to them. I don't think it's the police officers individually, right? They were probably just told to watch me by some, unknown clandestine force above, right? Like, do this, make sure you do this, and they just keep running their course, right?
Right.
And but I think it's hilarious because I know because I was on the phone with you guys and we were live, and all of a sudden all my lines went down, right? Like, how does that happen? I didn't move. I was just sitting in the car, and they pulled up behind me. The cops ransacked my car, made all types of accusations, searched me, uncomfortably so, right? And and I called them out. They did. I'm like, let me see your oath of office. Tell me who you are. You're so important. What precinct are you with? Who do you know?
And what did they say?
Like, with NASA, I go, are you detectives? Why are you in plain clothes? No, we're just regular, cops. I go, okay, well, let me see your oath of office. I go, who do you know? I'm like, I guarantee I know more people that in the police than you do. I mean, and they had nothing. They were just there. They were just there to harass me.
Yep.
So I just wanted a curious question for a second. Actually, it has to do. Honestly, I've been hearing this a lot lately, and I've been witnessing it a little bit of it myself. There's something, I guess, in the local state, whatever, for Washington called catcalling law, I guess, meaning you can't tell an officer they're doing their job wrong and then cite legally, constitutionally, et cetera, what they're actually doing wrong, because then they arrest you for it. My question is, how do we deal with that without getting arrested for no reason?
Well, okay, so whatever that is, catcalling law, that's not what I'm talking about doing. First of all, if they have an oath of office, right, then they should be able to produce that oath of office, right? They should be able to say, I have an oath of office, I'll get it for you, right? They should be able to produce it. Now, if some random person pulled you over saying they were a police officer and they had a gun, and you were in fear for your life, you were uncomfortable based on what they were doing, and you are now in fear for your life, and you are saying, please, I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. You're dressed like a police officer. It seems like you have a police car, But I don't know who you are, because why would you waste your time pulling me over when I'm not doing anything wrong? So if you cannot produce your oath of office, then you are not a police officer for the government, right? You are not a government employee, because a government employee would have an oath of office, and you could prove that what.
And they would have it on their person.
They would have it on their person.
Yeah, I remember that. What was the guy's name? Robert, the other guy, Rob, the individual about in regards to constitutional law and all that stuff. The guy was incredible, by the way.
Oh, Roy Davis.
Yeah, Roy. Excuse me, not Rob. Roy. My apologies. But yeah, that individual really got me thinking in terms of reinstating of the common law courts and actually publicly upholding the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and Bill of Rights, and really taking these matters into the public eye and really education is the wrong word, because again, it just means the training of animals, but enlightening people and helping people to really feel empowered to step up and speak up. Now, with me and the missus living below the poverty line, it gets really sketchy just at that level alone, let alone when you step out in public, you make posts on Facebook, et cetera. And yeah, I'm just grateful, just like the missus is to, and I'm sure everybody else is, that we're, piece by piece starting to come together and really slowly but surely out these folks. Although a lot of them are throwing themselves under the bus.
You're right. They are, but it doesn't matter. Your situation is exactly, kind of the point, right? They'll pretty much niche you into some kind of place, right? And if you speak the truth, it's not helping you to get a job, right? It's not helping you to make more money ever, right? Ever. It's by actually being an advocate and being outspoken for your constitutional rights, pretty much will get you labeled, right, as a troublemaker. But it's like, wait a minute. What are you talking about, a troublemaker? I would say the real trouble is, why are we in a system where when I say that I have the freedom of speech, that I have the freedom of to choose my religion, that I have I'm guaranteed the right to bear arms. I mean, I don't even like guns. I don't even like guns. I get scared. My kids will get in or something and shoot themselves. So, but I'll tell you what, I'll stand up for your right to carry a gun, and for people who know how to use a gun to carry a gun, and I make sure that I know how to fire a gun myself, and I don't even like it. I'm not into it.
So, being honest, I'm an ex-felon, so I can't have a gun. We're talking about that transparency, right? But I do, again, I back you up on the whole Second Amendment thing and helping others. It's, as the age-old saying goes, if you do the crime, you're going to need to do the time and pay the price for it. I did that. I learned that lesson when I was younger. Again, I'm with you on that. Help people, educate people on their constitutional rights.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You said you're a felon. Was it a violent crime?
No, actually, it's interesting. Down in Carroll County, California, Bakersfield, it's a GTA charge, when in reality, all the evidence stated that it was just joyriding, and I was dumb enough to not pay attention to how I was driving, and I crashed the car, so they changed it to GTA.
So this is the reason why now you are banned from having firearms. Now, that seems to me like another form of gun control.
Again, since I'm new to all this, and when I heard about Black's Law Dictionary and all these different things, I really don't want to open a can of worms on this, because I left California. I used to live in Bakersfield, and moved away so that I could properly educate myself on real law and things like that without all the certification garbage. And, it was just, there's a long list of things. This is why I actually typed in the chat a few things and reached out to the Speak Project, because I actually wanted to do a show about this and ask some people, like, well, I know I'm not the only parent that's had his rights stolen and his rights violated.
No, you're not. Now, I would say, Andrew, you're on a slippery slope, right? So you have to tread lightly for now, because you got a big voice, man. You got a lot of potential. You're looking at the right things. You're listening to the right people, I'd say. And I think it's very important to have young, strong men of integrity who are willing to stand up and do the right thing. Now, as far as going to pick a fight, which is kind of what I tend to do, Thomas tends to do that, right? I would not recommend that for you at this time, because you certainly don't want to raise any red flags. I mean, you're a father. That's your number one job. Now, that means that you are limited by certain things. As am I, by the way. Because at the end of the day, what is most important is we have to protect them. We have to be there for them. And kids measure love in time, right? The same way. That's why the worst thing they can do to us is make us do time, because they take that away from our children, right? Now, you just can't put yourself in a situation to rock the boat, in that way. You can't.
Actually, I'm gonna have to say it so that, again, transparency. I haven't seen my son Armand Robert Collins since 2014. I was forced while I was incarcerated, and what they call double jeopardy. I served time twice on the same charge. They changed the name and nature of the charge, and again, removed rights, forced me to sign paperwork, threat of violence, and prison sentence. This is when I knew nothing of this. And I was trying to kick my alcohol addiction, which I've got over a year off, by the way. And this is not about that anyway. But yeah, dude, this is why, again, I moved out of there. It's like I realized I needed to get myself in order, again, self-mastery. And when I came out here, I really started seeing all the THI, true alternative media stuff. And it's been a solid 3-year journey since then, just to kind of, pardon my French, pull my head out of my ass and be a real man.
Yeah. Well.
So yeah, I agree with you. I'm gonna have to
a year sober is a good start. And you know what? I make it a habit to look for the good in everybody. It doesn't mean that everybody's made a lot of great decisions. You know what I mean? We've all made bad decisions. We've all made mistakes. Some of us got caught. Some of us didn't. Some of us, got pulled out at the right time. In the right system, in the right combination of factors before we killed ourselves, right? But at the end of the day, whatever your son is that you have not seen, you know what? You have an obligation to make sure that when he does see you, that you give him something to look at.
Oh, believe me, I think about it every day. You can ask the missus, anybody. That's what I gave you guys my phone number, by the way, through an email and stuff. Like, please reach out to me. I have an interesting, rather lengthy story about what CPS has done to me, my siblings, and then they continued on through my parents, grandparents, and my son. I'm stopping the cycle with me and my son, and I'm trying to do so. I've been at it for years, and they stole my rights. You're right. I do have
and this double jeopardy thing, I'll tell you something. I got another guy that I'm, another guy who I'm trying my best to help. The laws are already out there, right? Now, this gentleman, he had a first time, only conviction in his life. He was, he carried some drugs from like New York to Philadelphia, which, it's a serious crime, right? Mm-hmm. They double sentenced him from the beginning for 30 years.
How much of that did they make him do? 80 or what?
He's already done 13. He's already done 13 years.
Dude, he's already out over a bogus charge like that.
Well, so now because the prison system, the medical system, the political system, these are all just economic control systems, right? These are energetic control systems. They use money to control where the energy goes. And this whole court system right now is absolutely, it's fine. Look, I keep saying this, and I need help from people, like Dan's friend, who every day I go to call him, and I know he can only be in one state, so I keep putting my energy other places. But I need help from the right group of constitutional lawyers, constitutional experts. I understand it well enough to discuss it, but at the end of the day, I am holding this entire fake, fraudulent justice system in contempt. The fact of the matter is that there is absolutely no care or concern to protect the rights of the people, the constitutional rights, which we are guaranteed. Now, when we were talking to somebody the other night, Kim got on the line, Kim Clever, and she was kind of sharing with us about there's really these national laws that they're separate. Those are the real laws of the land. No, they're not. Those are cabal laws. Those are mandates and stipulations.
Statutes. And
all of the contracts with those groups, they are expired. They no longer exist. So at the end of the day, you have a choice. Do you want your freedom of speech? Do you want your freedom to choose your religion? Do you want your freedom, period? You have a choice. Now you could have your freedom, or you could go back to being a slave underneath these contract laws, right? But those laws are no longer enforced. In 2014, the U.S. corporation, all the contracts that the Republic had with the corporation expired. It's over. It's done. The contract ran its course. That means in 2016, when President Trump was elected fairly, he is now the president of the Republic. And Kim put on his desk the letter of sovereignty to give America back to Americans. Now, that is something that, I'll tell you something, it's not something you can fight alone. It's something where we have to take an attitude that if I go to court, I better have 10,000 people with me. Because one thing I learned from the attorney who used to be she was the attorney for Linda Collins Smith, and I guess a friend of hers as well. And what she said is the courts hate it when you try a case in the public eye. They hate that.
Right.
So and so what she was advising as an attorney was keep your head down, stay low, don't make any noise. I take that advice into consideration, and based on their track record and the history in Arkansas, I would say do the exact opposite. Try everything in the court of public opinion. There is no court higher than the public opinion, because the public is the public consciousness, the collective consciousness of the people is what is creating the reality we live in. If we want to break through, we've got to break through everywhere and everyone. We've got to move the message constantly through every channel we can until it cannot be ignored, until the reality that we're in changes, because there has to be justice, because laws don't mean a damn thing. They don't mean anything if nobody enforces them, or if they only get enforced on certain people. But we have videotape, audio tape, we have FBI records, CIA records of Barack Obama, basically conspiring against an American citizen and a sitting American president who is currently working and managing the negotiations with Iran right now.
Thank you, love you. Breathe, brother. I can feel your anger from here. I don't agree with their crap either. Breathe, brother. We love you.
And look, I always say that. I'll tell you right now, the fact that this is allowed to take place, we all know it. We all know it. It's here. We have all the information. It's right here in front of us, and nothing's being done. How can I know so much about Barack Obama and I'm nobody? I have documentation. I can prove it myself. Anyone with half a damn brain would look at it and go, oh my gosh, this is a crime. Barbara Honaker right now, she's sitting there at the second highest court in the nation. She said we are inside the castle and the door shut. Now, I appreciate her moxie, but everybody else who goes after these cats ends up dead. And you know what? The fact that September 11th was just a couple days ago, and nobody even talked about this case that clearly demonstrates 57 pieces of evidence that have made it on the desk of the second highest court in the nation, showing that September 11th was an inside job. And it's not even mentioned anywhere.
Right.
Why? To protect the fragile hearts and minds of the poor victims of the U.S. citizens?
No.
Are you kidding me? That's why it'll happen again. That's why that kind of BS is set up to happen again, because we're so worried about hurting people's feelings, and we're so worried about we don't want to put this out there and startle anybody's fragile way of life. We don't want to disrupt them. The machine is designed to feed on us. It is a wood chipper that devours people. We are the fuel. We don't get to be free if we don't take it. We don't deserve to be free if we don't stand up and speak up and know our rights. If we don't teach our kids and teach our friends and teach our parents that these rights were taken from us and they belong to us. If we don't do that, we don't deserve to be free. And that is what's on the table. as a collective, we have been drugged in our water. You can't even survive without water, but you drugged our water. We need air. You drugged our air. We need food. You drugged our food. You took the one outlet we had to entertain us, and you poisoned that too. And you poisoned all of us. But now, you got one. One woman stood up to all of them. One woman took their whole system and reversed it. Took over their financial system and shut them down. Closed them out. But we can't get the Pentagon to go inside the banks and shut them down because they're too afraid. One woman took out the top 154 people, the most powerful people, feared as gods, written about in scriptures, talked about forever. All of them are gone. The same ones that were the scourge of humanity. She took them out in one day. And these jokers have the nerve and audacity to say no to her. But I'll tell you what, they get to say no to her, but here's the tragedy. The tragedy is the men who are allowing that to happen, the men who are in position to speak up, the men who are there in these banks, the cowards that have got tapes on them of doing horrible things to kids, so they compromise everybody else's life so they can be protected, their reputation can stay intact, so their medals are not tarnished. That's the tragedy. The tragedy is that humanity is on trial. We are on trial right now. We are being tested. We are watching and being watched. And as they look at us, what are you showing them? And you know what? Take this and go send it to your congressman. Clip it. Make sure you can give him my name, give him my number. You tell him to call me if he's got a problem with it, and prove me wrong. Please, prove me wrong. Somebody in these high positions, do something. Show your worth again.
Love your fire, man. Love your fire, bro. More proof for me to keep putting in the work.
There you go. Glad I could help.
Yeah, true fire.
That's
True
good,
fire,
that's it.
man.
Oh,
Well, everyone has to have some
house.
fire. We all have to have some fire. We gotta get moving. Make it happen.
Yeah, I love the passion of Tank because I sometimes just listen to Tank when he's speaking on the chat, and it puts me into like this semi-trance, and I wake up, and not 1 minute has passed, and it looked like an eternity I was there. So don't even think one moment that these chats are only half an hour long. They're not. There are many things that happen that are beyond our capable mind to comprehend because we're so clouded in our judgments and everything. And the best we can do is to realize that go straight forward, march with love and compassion, free as many wills as you can, and don't allow anything to put you down. Because you could, in the morning, like I said today in the chat, be honored and thanked for helping somebody, helping someone, and then in the evening someone could say that you're a liar or a cheat. So it's all in one basket, everything we get on this planet. And yeah, it's and I see where Tank's going with I tell you what, I remote view a lot, and I do that. I don't tell too many people, but I stopped doing that. I tell everybody that I can see them. And that has brought a lot of fear to these, they're like warmongers, you know? They're terrible. I hate to call it that, but there's places on this planet they literally take humans there, and it's a massacre. It's a bloodbath. You, everybody on the surface, do not even can imagine the depth of depravity this planet has gone into. It's more deeper than what he just said. And I alone have detected two-dimensional portals that are cloaked on the planet, about 6 portal bases that teleport humans off planet, many of them shut down by the many forces, the ET forces, and and then let alone in California, it's so loaded up with so many uh, underground uh, headquarters for these dark forces, and again, it's latent within our government too. We're not don't exclude our government being partakers in all these nefarious deeds that are being done. We have to put our part, and we have to clean everything and provide a way and a path. So much compassion, and much understanding, and thanks. I just wanted to say that just to give some glimmer of hope, because I believe that we're creatures of happiness. Don't even think one moment when we were created in a moment of joy. We were created in that moment. We weren't created in a moment of madness and of sadness. With that in mind, we must go back to that point of inception so that we can see and understand the source. And those that have gone close to seeing that have gone off planet and seen what it is out there, they can see and understand what I'm saying. And all of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what, everybody can go off planet and see all those things.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful. You know what? I can see some things too. Now here's what I'd say. You can put a whole population of people in a trance, waiting for something to change, deep in meditation, because their dreams are so comforting. They can imagine an incredible world. But I'll tell you something. The reality is this. Energy, when you really move energy, the physical creation has to respond. It has to. Think about it. Right now, if you just put your hand on your forehead, you just willed that to happen. It was energy. And it had a physical response, right? Now, because you believe it's going to happen, you don't even question if that's real. It just does. It just moves, just like that. It's easy. It's personal. We know. I willed it to happen. You couldn't even explain it if you wanted to. You weren't like, well, the synapses from my brain fired to move down my shoulder and then down to my arm, and you just did it. You just moved the energy. Now, as we're seeing things that have happened, and this took place, and that's, you know what? At the end of the day, if the physical creation, which is you, which is everybody listening to this call now, everybody who's listening to this call in the future, and it's funny, people are always talking about, Hank, you get so fired up and worried about your health. Look, my health is perfect. I'm a machine. I am in perfect health. You ask anybody. I keep myself fit. I'm strong. I eat right. I exercise. I make sure to get my rest and to meditate. I'm fired up because I understand what's at stake. And by the way, in this state, it's not stressful for me. I'm not angry. I'm in a war, and so are you. The difference is y'all are sleeping in the foxhole, and I'm out ready to fight. because I see them coming. So I'm not trying to give them any more power than they have. What I'm doing is I'm letting them know that I see them while everybody's waking up. So anybody worried and think, oh, Tank, that's not the right energy. You're wrong. Believe me, I'm very clear and controlled of my energy and how I express it. I know exactly when I'm getting excited and when I'm holding back. And I also know when the right people are listening who I want to hear the message. And I want them to know that the people are strong. I want them to know that we are standing together. I want them to know that we are not here on our knees with our face in the ground, hoping that they'll have mercy on us. I want them to realize we are in control. And we are demonstrating mercy towards them. And we have to know that. It is not a threat. This is the state of affairs. It is time for men to stand up so our women can be women. Because you know what? Women protect us just as much as we protect them, or we should be protecting them. They protect us on a million different ways. But there's nothing wrong with men being men and women being women. There's nothing wrong with all of us just standing together as humanity. We need each other on all levels. It's not a question of making one more than the other. It is recognizing I need those qualities that you have, and you need the qualities that I have and others. We all need each other. It doesn't matter what position anybody holds. People in this government, you're absolutely right, sir. The people in the government, I don't ever let them off the hook. They are the hook. I'm watching all the time. I'm looking constantly for signs of light. I look for the real leaders. And it's so obvious. It's so obvious who the real leaders are. Because they stand in the fire. They look down the enemy and they tell them, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. Do you even know what our Constitution is about? And to be quite honest, we should all be doing that. Why is it that we have a Constitution at all if we're not even going to talk about what its value is? Or why is it that we have it, but some governor in California who his whole family, they've never had vaccines, but he has the nerve and audacity to pass a law to force them to do the same, taking away their constitutional rights. In New York, doing the same. And the people making the vaccines, whatever his name is, Bill Gates, Melinda Gates, their children don't take vaccines. Why, Bill Gates? Because Bill Gates knows that you take those vaccines and it's going to help manage the population. Because do you know this? This is a real stat. It is 2.1 people will get cervical cancer out of 100,000, right? They are forcing this Gardasil shot, right, on these kids to prevent cervical cancer and also to prevent HPV. Now, there's 100 strands of HPV. It only protects against 4, and its efficacy is very low. They can't even prove that it actually does anything for cervical cancer. But the number of people who take the Gardasil shot, 2.1 of the kids who take the Gardasil shot end up having some type of autoimmune disorder. So these are the kind of statistics. You're putting your child at 100 times more risk. Now imagine that is obvious science. That is not conspiracy theory. Those are absolute facts. These are things we can look at, we can compare side by side and say, if I measure the risk and my goal and your goal, and I'm talking about the legislators, right? The judges, the attorneys, all these people, if their goal is to preserve life and my goal is to preserve life, we would look at the exact same data and there is no question about what's true. You cannot force that on my child. You cannot, it's too risky. Matter of fact, that drug should be taken off the market. But instead, what is happening? This is why we have got to hold our courts in contempt of the people. Because what they're doing is taking obvious actions of genocide and committing them against the people. It is clear. They are trying to create a controlled population. They're trying to infect us with disease. They're trying to reduce the population, and it's at our expense. And they are trying to survive the culling. and they think they're special. They think they are exempt. That is what's happening. So if you don't have kids, if vaccines aren't your issue, make it your issue. Because genocide is everybody's issue. It's everybody's issue. That's why I haven't been able to get off this thing with vaccine. In New York State, they are forcing children 9 years old. Any child that is 9 years old and above has to take the Gardasil shot by June 30th, 2020. Just imagine, it's not about vaccines. I am neither pro nor against vaccines. I am pro my children being alive. I am pro my constitutional rights and yours. That's what we're fighting for. We're fighting for our life. We're fighting for our freedom. That's what's on the line. So every day you go by waiting for someone else to do something, thinking that you've done enough because you listened to somebody, but you didn't take any action on your own, you've done nothing. You've contributed to the problem. Every day you sit there pining, waiting for the RV that is not going to happen, you are contributing to the lie, to the collective consciousness that is bringing this whole thing down slower, that is forcing all of us to wait, that is forcing humanity to stay stagnant.
I just wanted to briefly say thank you for your courage, bro. I just kind of couldn't keep it in. I sent it to Dan, and it's actually for both of you and everybody in the chat and anybody who's putting in this work and standing up and speaking out. I wanted to thank you for being an example, guys, of how it's supposed to be done. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Happy birthday to your kids, by the way, man. I completely spaced. Someone in the chat said, hey, tell him happy birthday for the boys.
yeah. Thank you, guys.
Happy birthday.
We love you, man. We really do.
Oh,
It's all good. Look, here's how I say this. I'll say this. It's what I tell my kids. When I was a teacher, I used to tell my students. When I was a minister, I would tell people I spoke to. And I'll say the same thing. If that rings true to you, if you know what I'm saying is right, don't let it be something that inspires you to do nothing. Don't you dare tell me that the words are valuable to you and you do nothing about it. You know what? I think about this. My kids give me some jacked up gift every year for Father's Day. Tie that's too small, a shirt that's too big. You know what I do? I wear that thing. I wear it right away. And you know why? Because it's not about the gift. It's about the ones that gave it to me. Now you want to show somebody you appreciate something, put it to use.
So beautiful. So beautiful. Wow.
Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's really, really deep.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you get from someone. I remember I used to carry something that my wife gave me once, and it was something simple. But because she gave it to me, a little note in the lunchbox, I took it, and I still have it. That thing's been over 15 years ago.
Ah, that's nice.
So that little note, and it reminds you of a lot of things. So. Somebody asked me to give the testimony of my wife, how I worked the way to heal her through the energies, and I wanted if people are in need of this kind of dealings. The way the energies work with the body are just two forms that they work with. They're basically, you got the holographic energy, and you have the frequencies you apply to the hologram. That's basically how this simulation runs. So there is technology on the planet right now that can be purchased. You just got to know the specific ones that are not scamming. There's a lot of scam out there for the healing and devices. But there's one that I've used with a little tweaking. You can quantum entangle a person's DNA to the frequencies without them being on the device. So what I did with my wife is I spent all my funds that I had. It must have been like about $5,000 because it was very expensive. And then I tweaked the device. And my wife had like about I would say maybe 3 months. She had like 60% oxygen, and that was like maybe 3 months left to live. So the only choice I had is either to spend all the money I have and be zeroed, and then be able to do something. So I basically depended on, through meditation and the universe, they guided me to something. When I purchased the thing, I won't say it online here because I don't want to give advertising to it, but I purchased the quantum entanglement devices, and I basically, in 3 months' time, I reversed it all the way to about 90, almost 100% oxygen level in her bloodstream through the gas test on the wrist or whatever, any kind of test you would do on her. So, and she had the lung issues. So, and we managed to reverse that, and then so I do a maintenance entanglement program with me and my wife because we both had really terrible health issues due to some other situations which I don't want to go into it yet. But the entanglement process with the body is real. The way we are kept here in this vessel is through two things: is frequency and vibrations. That's how we create our reality. Frequency and vibration. The way we can locate ourselves anywhere in the universe is through knowledge of the vibration of the location. So, with that in mind, you can basically send healing energy to anybody, anywhere in the universe. So you can do that locally by the devices that I use. And what I did is I entangled her, and I have a batch of probably over 50,000 frequencies that I can choose from. A whole encyclopedia. It's basically all the ones that we deal with, the 128, the 528, but those are the basic ones. But there are specific ones that are the Royal Rife. I don't know if you've ever worked with the Royal Rife. Anybody?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I basically have the whole batch of the Royal Rife frequencies, and I can go up to the beyond the 48,000 megahertz range. So I can go really high. So it treats cancers. So you can actually reverse all kinds of symptoms and things in the body. And I keep it in a stasis, and you can also advance. And what I do also is entangle the water, and I program all the water we drink and all that, which you can entangle it through lasers, which I also do a laser treatment, and I entangle the water, quantum entanglement also. I managed to develop, I don't know if you know about Ormy, orbitally rearranged monatomic elements. Basically, when the electron loses and frees itself from the atom, it becomes hyperdimensional. So there's groups of people on the planet that work with Ormus. Basically is, if you've ever worked with brown gas, I don't know if you know what that is. It's very healing. The brown gas is what's created when you create the energy wave that's quantum. And you can create that through far infrared and a lot of different types of laminite crystals and stuff like that. So when you develop so you can program your water through laser and frequencies, and you can also do a lot of things like I would start regimen on Shanghai. I don't know if you're familiar with Shanghai, the Shanghai water. Very good. That thing is like you can take a bath in it. It's really good. The Shanghai, you can I don't know if you know what Kelby balls. If you're familiar with that, that's like.
Hey man, listen, these are really great tips. You should actually get in touch with us and come on when Lisa is here because she wants to do all types of shows on healthcare.
Okay.
But I'm curious. But you were making a point. You said you wanted to hear your testimony about your wife. So you healed your wound. Is that what you get to?
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. I just put you on point.
I wanted to say that because what happened is when I decided to use the frequencies and the non-conventional methods and rely on basically the way the body works and allow itself to heal itself. That's what you need to do to the body. We're taught that we need to get injected, that we need to get vaccinated, that we need to get shots, that we need medicine to sustain ourselves. And when you remove all that, and then, which, I'm not telling anybody to stop taking medication, but you have to reach the point where you have to believe that there's something more than just uh, the medicine and the pharmaceuticals. So it takes a great leap of faith to jump that bounds. And when I did that, I did use the frequencies, and that's how I was able to work the magic that Source has, because everything runs on vibration. So we all have to remember that. So we can do a lot of things through vibration, and that's how I was able to.
That's what you're doing right now. Like the vibrational energy that we had built up going away, and then to take the vibration a different direction now, right? So that's a methodology used, right?
Yeah.
To study frequency, that you can do that. Even without advice, you can do that just with someone's voice. I'm very familiar with the CIA used to always interrupt my calls right when I was trying to pull people a certain way, and they would come in with some things to try to calm people down. Because if our frequency gets too high and we get too focused on one singular thing, which what we're talking about right now is taking a stand. So it's very important to stay in line with the frequency of what we're trying to accomplish, so we don't take that energy that we're building up, that frequency that is real right now, and we just drop it down to talk about something for the sake of talking about something. So it's really important to always be cognizant of that in our communication. I am. I'm very cognizant of it. I'm very cognizant of it when I see it being done. So I'm very careful about it. So yeah, I think that's really a great point. I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Well, what do you think? We're good for today?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah,
Have a good night.
thanks everyone. This was an excellent broadcast. So, anyway, we can all get excited, Tank. Get up and move that energy.
That's right. The point that I was trying to get to for Andrew Collins out there, I'll tell you something, and this is exactly how I feel about it. I look at every time we have these opportunities to talk, and the reason why we're here every night, I don't expect 100 people to go take action. I'd love it if they did, but you know what? I know one Andrew Collins, he just might. And if I got one more like that, that starts to perpetuate itself. It only takes us helping one. So I would recommend something I heard Kim say the other day. Just help one person. Just help one person see more food. Help one person take action they need to make this world a better place. Help one person. Help one person stand up for their rights. Help one person be better informed, more educated, and know what to do when they get challenged. And as you do that, just ask them to do it for one person too. Now, if you did that, we would hit every single person on the planet by the end of the month. 30 days. 30 days. So that's all I have to say about that. Dan, you have a great night.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
All right.
Bye.
Peace out from the Philippines.
Peace.